Hello, and welcome to this week's What's for Dinner episode, where I show you meals we made this week so you get some meal ideas. We did lasagna. I have a veggie dip recipe for you. We did BLTs, pulled pork sandwiches with barbecue sauce, and a loaded baked potato. Let's get into this week's recipes. This is a lasagna recipe I made about a year ago, and it was the best lasagna I've ever made. So I'm just browning up 2 pounds of meat. You could either do 2 pounds of hamburger, 2 pounds of sausage. I'm doing one of each. And then I also have some diced onions in there as well with some garlic. And now I'm adding salt and pepper and Italian seasoning. Now I'm going to add a half a cup of vermouth. Once most of that liquid is evaporated, you'll start adding the tomatoes and beef broth. So we have 2 cans of diced tomatoes, 1 can of beef broth, 1 can of tomato paste. And then you could add any seasonings that you want. It could be crushed red pepper, salt and pepper, or oregano, Italian seasoning. And then you want to simmer this for an hour. I got impatient this night and only simmered it for a half hour, and it did make a difference. The lasagna was more liquidy than I wanted it to be. So you definitely want to simmer this for a full hour. And then we shredded up 2 blocks of mozzarella cheese. And now the fun part is layering it in the pan. I put a little bit of sauce in the bottom just to cover the bottom, and then you're going to layer in noodles. Then we're going to put in some farmer's cheese. This is the cheese I used a year ago, and I just really liked the consistency of the lasagna. You could use ricotta as well. I think farmers might be a little harder to find. You would want to put this out about an hour or 2 before you make this. As you see, I'm having a difficult time spreading it because it's not very soft yet. Then we're going to do half of the remaining sauce. And half of the mozzarella. More noodles. Finish this off with the rest of the farmer's cheese that's in the container, the rest of the meat sauce, the rest of the mozzarella, and then I will top it with Parmesan. And you're going to cover it with tin foil and bake it at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. And then I turned up the heat to 400 and baked it without the tin foil cover for an additional 10 minutes. And you want to let this stand for at least 20 minutes so that it's easier to cut and it gets more firm. And I would say it serves about 6 to 12 people depending on your portion sizes and if you have any, side salad or garlic bread as well. But it's definitely a hearty meal and it's delicious. And that's the lasagna. So this is a sweet raw vegetable dip, and it is a half cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of oil, 4 teaspoons of mustard, and then you're going to want to stir that all up to get the sugar dissolved, and then you can add in the mayo, and it's 1 cup of mayo. This is my first time making it. This is my grandma's recipe, and I really liked it. It's very sweet with that sugar. It's kind of like a honey mustard. That's kind of what it reminded me of, but it was something different, not just your typical ranch dip. So it was really good. And I just served it with some jicama, cucumbers, peppers, celery, and carrots. You do want to put it in the fridge. It says to do it overnight. I did it just for about 5 hours. And yeah, you do want to get it chilled well and get that sugar dissolved in there. But it is really good and something different and very easy to make. With that veggies and dip, we had some build your own BLTs and some chips. It was really, really good. Kind of thing that I do is I put butter on one side of the bread and then mayo on the other side. The next night I didn't get it filmed where I cooked this in the crock pot, but it was all day long on low, and I had mustard on it and then a sweet rub that's from the Hey Girl Hey website. I will link that recipe down below. We use that rub all the time. We love it, especially on steak. And I'm letting that rest for an hour in the tin foil, and then we're shredding it up, getting rid of some of the fat, and then we'll serve it on some toasted buns with some barbecue sauce as well, with those leftover veggies and some dips and chips. This night we did some loaded baked potatoes. These were really big potatoes, so they're thoroughly washed, and now I'm just piercing them with a fork, and I'm going to drizzle some olive oil on them as well as some sea salt. I'm not going to put tinfoil around them to bake them. I bake them like this on a pan with some parchment paper. And these were really big. I baked them for 75 minutes at 425 degrees and they turned out perfect. The skin was crispy. Once they were done, I just put on some butter on them along with some cheese and bacon and put those back in the oven for just like 5 minutes. I also topped my potato with sour cream and chives and green onion as well. It was really delicious. Thanks for watching this week's What's for Dinner episode.